Hello, this is Max. Today, there will be a story of how a handsome man pretended to be in love, but in reality, he was a monster. You can subscribe to the channel after watching. It helps us a lot in realizing the content. While waiting for her mom to arrive and pick her up from summer camp, Liberty steals a few glances at a boy she has developed feelings for. As they sit in the car, Liberty's mom Michelle playfully teases her about her crush, taking on the role of an older mom trying to be cool. Michelle even goes so far as to let Liberty drive the car without a permit. Michelle recently sold a piece of land she owned because her romance novels haven't been selling well, and she needed the extra cash. Once they arrive home, Liberty is introduced to Michelle's new boyfriend. Liberty is impressed by his confident walk. Michelle casually mentions how she's been in constant communication with him, making a somewhat cheeky remark that's not entirely appropriate for her daughter. Liberty meets the new boyfriend, John, with some hesitation. John presents her with a bracelet called the Navajo Stone of Life, which he explains represents the Phoenician goddess of fertility. Afterward, Liberty gets dressed and tries to prepare herself mentally for her interactions with John. When she joins them downstairs, she exchanges greetings with John. During their early dinner together, Liberty describes the seemingly magical way in which John entered her life while she was riding on the porch. John elaborates that he's an aquatic geneticist studying freshwater animals. As he passionately explains his efforts to help organisms adapt to a saltwater environment, Liberty becomes physically attracted to his intelligence and charisma. Later on, during dinner, John attempts to eat some greens and nearly chokes in the process. Michelle embraces John affectionately to console him in his coughing fit, and he reaches out to touch Liberty's shoulder. As night falls, the sensation of John's touch lingers on Liberty's shoulders, leading her to indulge in her own fantasies. However, she restrains herself from getting carried away. She overhears her mother's moans from the bedroom and curiously peers under the door. But when John notices her, she quickly retreats. Liberty pretends to be asleep as John gazes at her from the hallway. The following morning, Liberty witnesses her mother requesting scratches on her arms, a peculiar habit Michelle has developed. When they have a moment alone, Liberty unearths canisters labeled with her mom and grandpa's names. These canisters hold gifts they exchange on August 28th, a tradition they've maintained for their grandpa. However, Michelle wants to skip the tradition this year. Liberty confronts Michelle's dismissive attitude towards their grandpa and implies that his preference for her over Michelle is due to her mother's strained relationship with him. Michelle reveals that her grandpa never loved her, which prompts her to walk away. While Liberty is alone by the water, she gets bitten by a large centipede. John explains that the centipede is protecting its offspring and blows on Liberty's bite to alleviate the pain, causing a shiver to run down her spine. John's deep blue eyes captivate her. John contemplates leaving to avoid causing issues between Michelle and Liberty, but Liberty insists he stay, considering his love for Michelle. In an attempt to reconcile with her mother, Liberty finds Michelle fatigued and groggy. Michelle mentions a slight stomachache and shares that she and John are engaged. Liberty expresses her happiness as long as her mother is content. At a later time, Liberty observes John from her window as he undresses and catches her looking. Liberty decides to go to the basement to offer John a drink, only to discover that he avoids sodium. John shows her his basement setup, which includes tanks of lampreys. These ancient creatures are over 360 million years old and can adapt to various environments by attaching themselves to other creatures. John invites Liberty on a boat trip to collect samples. During the outing, he asks her to hold his legs while he handles eels. As they chat, Liberty mentions applying to colleges far from home. Suddenly, she starts bleeding, and John swiftly uses his shirt to prevent the blood from spreading. John attempts to comfort Liberty and reassures her not to be embarrassed about her situation. However, he takes things to an even more awkward level by licking her blood to demonstrate that it's not a big deal. After reaching the shore, Liberty clings awkwardly to John's shirt as she walks away from the boat. She cleans up in the shower and removes the bracelet he gave her. John knocks on the door to check on her, and although she doesn't respond, he quietly enters. He stands just outside the shower curtain, smelling Liberty's scent, which makes her uncomfortable. Feeling something is off, Liberty notices John smelling the shirt he used to soak up her blood before eventually leaving without being detected. Later, after a shower, Liberty walks in on John and her mom Michelle in a compromising situation. They make eye contact, leaving Liberty shocked and uneasy. She tries to call her friend Marley to share what's happening but can't connect. Instead, she sends Marley messages describing John as a freak. Later, she finds a sandwich at her door, left by John as an apology for his strange behavior. During the night, Liberty is awakened by an airy red light coming from the lake. John walks towards the light and disappears into the water. Liberty attempts to get her mom's help but is met with a locked door. She goes to the lake and encounters a confused John who claims he wasn't in the water and blames sleepwalking for his strange behavior. The next morning, Michelle is constantly vomiting and asks Liberty to buy a pregnancy test and medicine from town. While in town, Liberty spots John with another woman, and he notices her following them. Liberty's attempt to follow is thwarted when she's stopped by a store clerk for forgetting to pay. Upon returning home, Liberty finds her friend Marley there, and they discuss John's odd behavior. Liberty gives her mom the items she bought, and John suggests that Liberty takes care of her friend. He makes an odd comment about Marley looking fun, which unsettles Liberty. She wishes she could stay to inform her mom about her discoveries about John, but John bids her farewell with a wink. Liberty confides in Marley about John's weird behavior, and Marley encourages her to leave the house and tell her mom. However, Liberty is too scared to do so. Marley takes it upon herself to inform Michelle. While waiting, Liberty decides to eat macaroni from the fridge and then unexpectedly wakes up on her bed. Michelle reveals she's pregnant, but Liberty doesn't seem happy and wonders if Marley told Michelle everything. Michelle isn't overly concerned by Marley's revelations, leading Liberty to remind her about John licking her blood. Michelle dismisses this claim as a lie from Liberty. John gives her a strange wink, which doesn't seem quite right. Liberty responds by calling him a freak and seeking refuge with her mother. Unexpectedly, Michelle delivers a sharp slap to her daughter, leaving her stunned. In retaliation, Liberty exposes a hidden truth to John. Michelle isn't really 35 years old, but rather 42. This revelation upsets John greatly. Attempting to leave, John's departure is halted by Michelle, although his expression becomes increasingly intense and erratic. Liberty makes an effort to elaborate on John's peculiar behavior, but Michelle's emotions take over, and she becomes visibly upset with her daughter. After the tension subsides, Liberty hears unusual noises outside the house, followed by sounds of her mother struggling. Upon investigation, she witnesses John in an unsettling situation, his appearance undergoing an alarming transformation with bumps on his back. The culmination of this event results in a peculiar and discomforting sound. Subsequently, Michelle goes missing, prompting Liberty to make an ill-advised decision to search for her near the lake. With the realization that her mother is likely beyond help, Liberty attempts to drive away but foolishly gets the car stuck near the lake. Illuminating the surroundings with her headlights, Liberty catches a glimpse of something in the lake, unseen by viewers. This prompts her to call for emergency assistance, though her attempts to contact 911 prove unsuccessful. As a substitute, she dials her mother's phone and follows the ringing tone to the basement. Descending into the basement, a blue light reveals mysterious markings on Liberty's wrist, replacing where a bracelet had been worn. To her shock, she discovers her mother bound and seated within a large tank, also marked with similar symbols. Liberty uses a bucket to reach her mother, eventually succeeding in waking her up. Michelle's awakening triggers a terrified reaction, prompting John's descent into the basement. Liberty hides while accidentally spilling the bucket's contents. Observing the water's effects on John's feet, Liberty notices peculiar fish-like transformations taking place. John opts to wear boots to counteract this. Michelle endures a distressing birth, giving rise to an otherworldly creature. John's frustration arises from the stillborn nature of this inhuman offspring, leading him to depart with the lifeless baby. Liberty witnesses John feeding a glowing object to the creature before locking the basement door to prevent his return. Her attempt to call for help is thwarted by John's device, which blocks all communications. John communicates with her through a small window, demanding entry in a menacing and alien manner. Liberty manages to disable the device, enabling her to call the police. As she speaks with the dispatcher, Liberty encounters the lifeless body of her friend Marley within a tank. Unexpectedly, John surprises her from behind, initiating a choking encounter. Resourcefully, Liberty uses a bucket of salt water to fend off John's attack, allowing her time to rescue her mother. Michelle regains consciousness after Liberty's intervention. Apologetic for her prior behavior, she joins her daughter in escaping the house. However, their exit is met with a haunting scene as they become surrounded by fish-like creatures. Michelle's physical state deteriorates drastically, and Liberty is ambushed from behind. The story takes a dark turn as Liberty awakens. Now restrained in a basement chair, John appears, revealing a horrifying tableau behind a punched wall, a deceased woman within a tank. A clone version of John mirrors his actions. Approaching her, John ominously warns that time is short. After another eerie transformation, he spits a blue sphere into Liberty's mouth, demanding she swallow it. She complies reluctantly. In a disorienting shift, Liberty regains consciousness inside a tank, struggling futilely against her confinement. Her destiny mirrors that of those around her. The movie concludes on a chilling note. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen, and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.